Hello, and welcome to my first video essay. Today I'll be talking about my favorite of the VeggieTales episodes, An Easter Carol. As you saw in the title, this is the one time I know of where VeggieTales discussed heresy. Growing up in a Christian household, I watched a lot of VeggieTales. I'm sure a lot of Christian children have the same experience. As a child, I remember waiting all year long for the time to pop in the Easter Carol. It was always my favorite. My uncle owned a factory, so I always enjoyed seeing our protagonist run such a well-refined machine. While back then I enjoyed the songs, I now love the depth and message of this film. The episode does a great job showing the rise and downfall of our main character, Ebenezer Nezer, who, for the sake of this video, I will simply be referring to as Mr. Nezer. At the start of the film, Nezer is shown to be a strong capitalist leader, running a factory passed down by his grandmother. But time has been rough on Nezer, as his theater got burnt down a year ago by his irresponsible socialist relatives. Nezer is shown to care about tradition and history through honoring his grandmother's factory. Sadly, over time, the constant naggings of the townspeople make him question his belief and eventually lose his faith in the system that gave him this great position of power. It's such a great and sad tale that shows what heresy is capable of doing to a strong individual over time. To my knowledge, this is the only episode of VeggieTales to discuss how heresy can lead to a loss of faith in Jesus, and it is shown through an exchange for a belief in liberalism. As we all know, every place of power is given directly by God, and from this, we see that the church's desire to oppose Nezer is actually about the church's own turn away from God, but instead towards social justice. While Nezer may not hold political office, his power as a business and landowner must also be respected. While the church is shown to be giving handouts instead of stimulating the market and buying things such as his eggs, Nezy is shown to be responsible by saving up for his big project Easterland. He wants to build this on land he owns, yet is met with unbridled rage and assertions made by parasitic employees about what he can and cannot do with his own land and wealth. They do not care that he is going to start up a new factory to employ more workers. They do not care about the jobs or economy. They only care about holding on to the land that he was kind enough to let them worship on in the first place, even though now it has become a place of the worship of liberalism and not Jesus. At the beginning of the film, we see a quick glimpse at the town. It is an average town, but a few things stand out. A young ruffian sings of how he hunts and begs for eggs to put in his basket, but it is neither a basket nor actually his, but instead a hat he stole from a white woman to contain these street eggs. When she, expectantly exasperated by this theft, snatches her property back from the thug, is humiliated with a head full of egg when she places the hat on. Hunting for eggs shows that this ruffian is primitive, and begging shows us that he is too lazy to do anything for himself. The other standout is an orphan selling lilies that she obviously clipped from someone else's garden, and when Nezer goes to sell her an egg, she walks away with it. And when asked to pay for that egg she is buying, she responds with violence, throwing this plastic egg in the face of our protagonist. Despite this clear aggression directed towards him, he shrugs it off, peacefully reserved. Youth are shown to be disrespectful of the elderly as well, not referring to Nezer as Mr., as would be polite. Now, on the character of Nezer, look, I get that he isn't perfect. It would be kinder of him to not tear down the church on Easter Sunday, but it is his own land, and if he puts it off one day, they will simply beg him for another, more and more, so on and so forth. It is better for him to show tough love now and do what he knows to be best, instead of trusting dumber and weaker people than him to know what is right. And, as a Christian, his claim that
The world would be a better place if that church was never built.
that sounds harsh, but the truth is, with churches like this one diluting the justice of God in favor of socialism, they show themselves to be heretics, and the world would be better without them. As it says in Matthew 18, "But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck, and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." That is the justice of God, not the social justice of socialism. While Nezer comes across as cold to some, in reality he is kind, offering his thoughts and prayers to the young dying asparagus, and his kindness is also shown by offering a job to his nephews, two criminals that would never be hired after committing arson. MacLeod and Cavis, after burning down the respectable theater of our protagonist Ebenezer Nezer, complain about the harshness of him as a boss and how he hasn't given them a day off in their year of work. But their constant bickering amongst themselves shows that neither of them has even asked for a day off themselves. As he is a busy man, it makes sense that you wouldn't constantly be thinking about the needs of his own employees. While he may be forgetful, he is still sympathetic. While the town church preaches socialism, it also spends thousands of dollars on itself to commission the stained glass window. The church, in this, is against buying medicine for a young kid, but is okay with spending money to build what is essentially icons of the story of Jesus Christ. As a Calvinist, I think that it is wrong to make images of God. This is iconoclasm, as we all know. Thus, the destruction of these stained glass windows, while it may seem sad to some, is merely the destruction of an idol. Daddy Asparagus is shown to be the wise one, knowing that if Nezer is in power, it is from God, and therefore he shouldn't be in fear. Even though he knows he might lose his son because of Nezer, he still trusts in Nezer's will for the city, knowing it to be right. MacLeod and Cavis, on the other hand, lack faith in God. In attempting to steal the blueprints of Easterland, they resort to breaking the law as a means of getting their way. And this is something we have seen in recent times, as the masses ask the wealthy to do what is not best for them, and commit criminal temper tantrums as a means of punishing them for being strong. In the second act of the film is where the lies told to Nezer begin to internalize. They manifest in a fever dream that scares him away from the truth. These ideas, conceived by the fear-mongering of this leftist church, make him doubt the vision of his elders and impose a new vision on an already defined history, making himself believe that he is wrong for using the power God gave him. Furthermore, the police in this world are shown to be pushover leftists as well, too afraid to stop any criminal, else they might be getting in trouble for punishing a minority. Is this the world the left wants? A policeman who lets the criminal steal from the rich and the poor? The police symbolically use their heads to solve the problems they face, but it only results in a police force in pain. Ahead of their time, VeggieTales showed us the warnings of what might happen if liberals got the police force they wanted.
I like that crazy beat.
So, you called for an inventor?
Why, yes, I did, Seymour. You see, I got a little problem.
Problem?
Problem. Yes, I got a little problem with my chickens.
Chickens?
Birds.
Zoids.
Birds.
Zoids.
Birds.
Zoids.
Birds.
Zoids.
The death of the grandmother is shown to be hard on him and his chickens, slowing down the egg production. This problem with his chickens he solves with ingenuity, making a sacramental version of the egg in the form of a plastic egg. He does this by hiring inventor Seymour. Seymour debates Nezer's actions of plastic eggs, because Seymour doesn't seem to believe in sacramental actions. But eventually he just tries to divert the conversation away from the actual argument, as he knows he cannot win. And Seymour can try to play innocent in this, but if the leftist church really wants to blame Nezer for Easterland, they must also blame Seymour for designing Easterland. But would they? No. Now we get to the worst character in this special, the Bug. She uses insults like a smaller, feminine John Oliver to get her point across, instead of actually debating on the grounds of reality. And while I would like to spend more time proving all her arguments wrong, this video essay is already going on far too long, and most of her points are already addressed elsewhere in this video. While the song sung by the Bug shows how Jesus gave to the least, it doesn't accurately portray Jesus. Jesus is just as much justice as he is love, if not more so. And by leaving out how Jesus is justice riding on a horse with a sword, the Bug commits heresy. Now, this part of the film gets painful to me. As I mentioned, my uncle owned a factory, and when I was 7, the factory caught on fire, burning everyone inside it. The family photos, my grandfather's gun, and all his workers. Luckily, he was out for lunch when it began, but I still can't help but think about there being a reality out there where my uncle was also caught in the fire, joining in the screams of his workers locked inside as it burnt down around them. Thankfully, he managed to be able to claim the insurance after a hefty legal battle, and in the end, he got back on his feet and was able to retire. Not a week goes by that I don't thank Jesus for saving his life, and when I rewatch the factory about to explode, it still gives me chills. In the end, his factory is left in shambles, his theater has burnt down, and no one pays him for the eggs that he's been producing all year long. The labor goes unpaid, and people sing praises of God's blessing. But would God ever bless people by causing harm to someone in power? No. Power is from God, and this pain is caused by socialism and not God. In the end, after the fear has got to him, he does away with his logic and facts. While he used to save his money like a responsible adult, now he throws bags of it away to an orphan, despite her not doing anything to deserve it. This fear leads him to not pay attention to the state of his own factory, which leads to its demise. But, as we know, art imitates life. In 2003, Big Idea Entertainment declared bankruptcy, and while that might seem to be the end for Big Idea, that wasn't it. They were saved, bought by Classic Media, purchasing them with their well-saved money. And eventually, when Classic Media was running dry, DreamWorks bought Classic Media and gave Big Idea the budget they always deserved. Without capitalism, we never would have got the amazing redesigns we see in the Netflix reboot, VeggieTales in the House. And I'm so thankful that DreamWorks hired famed Christian auteur Doug TenNapel of Earthworm Jim fame as executive producer to bring the series to its fullest potential. Finally, we could see Bob and Larry and the whole cast and crew in high res with more realistic and expressive animation. Like how Nezer took over Grandmother's beautiful factory in this film, Mr. TenNapel was able to take the vision out of the hands of the greats before him and make it into something better, more relevant for the modern age, into something that would last forever. Thank you for watching this video. I know it was a long one, but this is my first and I hope to do many more. I look forward to you joining me in my next video essay, Interstellar, a leftist gay utopia. Thank you. Until next time.